Today I'm going to be talking to you about good settings for Doom Eternal, as well as how to use the weapons and the mods um, to their greatest advantage. So first, go into settings, go to game, and we'll talk about difficulty. My first playthrough I played on Hurt Me Plenty. It offered an excellent challenge, but also let me have the time to develop the mechanics of the game without the tedium of constantly going back to the load previous checkpoint screen. Now, once I finished the game, it made ultra violence and nightmare far more approachable. I have no problem playing on ultra violence. I greatly enjoy it. The increased speed and aggression of the demons. It's stimulating but not overwhelming. And then Nightmare, it is truly a nightmare. If you watch people playing on Ultra Nightmare and you see how they're constantly moving and kind of like really staying airborne quite a bit, I haven't cracked that code, but Nightmare requires a similar thing. Although I can play it, I've gotten through Super Gore Nest. The tedium of the load previous checkpoint screen is undesirable to me. Now I want to talk about the UI color profile. I see a lot of people going with the standard default one, and for me, I found that it kind of blends into the background a little too much on some levels, and it's just kind of soft looking. And the icons in the bottom right, particularly, they don't have a lot of distinction between them. So I ended up settling down on demons because I love the purple and blue in my settings, of course. But then if you look, the vibrance of the icons in the bottom right is kind of nice. It adds a little flair to it. And then on the bottom left, you see the almost pinkish red really stands out, even in levels like Necrotol, I think it was, in that hellscape, you know what I mean? So that was one of the first things that I changed. There are other ones, but they're very straightforward. Like, it's all amber, it's all green, it's one like Exterminator's all red. It's almost too monotonous. So I don't personally recommend any of them, but some people are looking for a vibe, and it's good for streaming and whatnot, because eventually you don't really need too much input from those buttons or those icons. All right. So I wanted to go over to Crosshair and show the dot. If it was a colored dot, I would say it was useful. I do like using the dot, but it's just this white speck that looks so out of place. It looks like a glitch. Whereas the full offers like whether or not your mods are charged up and whatnot. So a little more useful in my opinion. Now, I immediately turned active runes off. I think the compass comes standard off because I always know what my runes are. It's not really an important thing to be displayed on the screen. Offers greater immersion. So does shutting off the blood punch gauge and the dash. Now, if you take a look, that flashing of the blood punch is it kind of takes away. It draws attention. You know what I'm saying? It does look nice in the demon color scheme, though. But the dash, it fills so quick, like, who needs to know whether or not it's filled? You know what I mean? So I go ahead and keep those off, which I'm going to shut them back off right now. You can, hold on, dash, active ruin. Oh yeah, and then you can shut off the demon corruption meter, which is pretty cool because it just opens up the screen a little more. I like a minimalistic HUD, and the demon corruption meter, it's only useful on your first playthrough. And you do want to know if, like, you defeated a random encounter or something, but second playthrough, get rid of it. It's more exciting. Alright, so the main reason I'm doing this video is about controls. Now, the horizontal and vertical sensitivity, this is the first time I've never not had them even. I just didn't even touch it. I started playing the game, I forgot to turn it up. Personally, when I played Advanced Warfare, which has the exact same control system except for it has a slide, I had it on a 10, and I feel this one's a little too low. Like whenever I go and play Call of Duty, it's not even a 7. It's I didn't really think about it, and I went straight in. It's funny because I did all the other adjustments, and I didn't really adjust this enough, and I kind of wish I had, because the high sensitivity with the double jump allows you to launch yourself over an enemy, and you can train your crosshair on them the whole time, and it adds for a very exhilarating kill, a lot more mobility potential and reaction potentials. So, if you can stand a higher sensitivity, I do recommend it. I I may still raise it at some point. Now, this is the most important thing I think that has not been really covered, is the controller layout. All right. Now, I watched a video a while back. I was talking about DooM and how they had left L3 wide open for whatever you wanted to do with it, and he was recommending, oh well, I like putting the weapon mod switch there, because that's weapon switching and weapon mod switching are ridiculously important, and I can see how it would be really nice, because I would like to be able to take my or leave my thumbs on for switching mods, like say when I was going from full auto shotgun to the sticky bombs or something like that. But it's not as important as the dash. The dash is just ridiculous. If I'm on the ground, I am using the dash nonstop. Now, from my Call of Duty advanced movement days, I also have R3 as my jump, because I never got a scuff controller, and I find jump to be slightly more useful than the glory kills. I glory kill a lot, but I jump even more, and so I kind of swap those things around. And then on a side note, because I came up with this, and I didn't, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this. If you don't have a scuff controller, and say you play an advanced movement Call of Duty, or even a regular Call of Duty, I still keep my jump as X, but I swap my L2 and circle, or my tactical grenade and my slide, and that way I can slide without taking my thumbs off the joysticks. So I slide around every corner without losing any aiming potential, because you can always it affects certain games where you use tacticals a lot, but like honestly, I didn't use a lot, and I developed that playing Advanced Warfare, in which the tactical or the exo ability was it was very, very uncommon. Most people sacked an exo ability for just another create class slot. All right. And so now we're going to video. It's curious, the field of view is actually not set to maximum. It's set down, I think, to like 100 or something. And there is a pretty big difference in how much of the surrounding area you see on the screen. Being that I play on a 27-inch monitor, I would probably have benefited from the lower field of view, because I sit farther away, and so it would bring everything into focus a little bit better. But at the same time, I don't do a lot of long range stuff on this, so the higher field of view allows me to see more. I do recommend pumping it all the way up. I've never heard of somebody keeping motion blur on. I honestly think it's really annoying, and it takes away from the graphics. Some people might like it. The film grain, on the other hand, it's kind of a cool aesthetic. I actually sit too far away from my monitor to be able to see it. But on some other games, it does offer kind of a cool thing. And there was this deal back in the day, like during the transition of CRTs to flat screen monitors. If you played like a Xbox or PS3 on a CRT, or an Xbox 360 that is, it wouldn't display all the geometric angles of the graphics, and the color was actually really good on like the Call of Duty series and stuff, and it gave it kind of a strangely realistic quality. Although this film grain does not do that. It's just kind of a texture. It's neat. It is. I just don't mess with it. All right. So music, honestly, I should have turned it down to make this video. But I keep it all the way up if I'm doing campaign. But during multiplayer, very annoying. Unfortunately, the match music does not go away when you shut the music off. And so your conversation while in your lobby will just right there and then and there, and it's super annoying. let me see. Everything else I keep, but the subtitles I shut off because I like the immersive experience. If I'm playing the story and I want to hear the story, um, I will have my sound up. All right. Then accessibility, a couple things. Honestly, I would shut off Sentinel Armor because if you're having that much trouble with a boss, turn the difficulty down. It's one or the other. I don't know. I mean, I would say look at a tutorial and just keep developing yourself. By the time you get to your first real boss, you should you'll likely be fluid enough with the game that it won't be necessary. The environmental screen shake, on the other hand, it is actually kind of necessary to tell you what's going on certain scenes. At least on the first playthrough, it may not be necessary on the second, but I just leave it on. And then, yeah, it just kind of circles back around to some other features, subtitles and whatnot. Now, I want to talk about the weapons because this is something that is like incredibly good to know, because each enemy has a weakness to a particular weapon, and it's not in the codex. Like it kind of is. It's not like the those Arch Knights, the ones with the blades on them, as well as the Hell Knights. They it says something about them faltering easily through the chain gun, but no, they will die quickly to the chain gun. You just keep backing up, and this shield becomes your best friend, especially on Nightmare. But the chain gun, I feel, is one of the best killing weapons in the game. The only one that is similar is the auto feature for the shotgun. This thing, it's just faster than the super shotgun. The super shotgun, I find it's more relegated to another way to get armor, and you really don't want to do it on big guys like the Cybermankius that says, oh, blood punch will just knock the armor right off. The second you get near that thing, it does the area of effect like acid thing, and a lot of them, if you get close to them, they're going to do damage to you. So you don't want to do the meat hook on something that's going to hit you, because you only get 30 armor, but you get 30 armor from a regular zombie. So just like, say you flame up a bunch, back off, meat hook it, and hit it, you're going to get a ton of armor off of that. And then you just sit there and work through it. Honestly, I kind of like to use the chain gun if I'm not trying to get a glory kill to get a little extra health or something. You just dump a ton or drop a grenade. And that's the other thing that this sticky grenade mod is good for, is like, say you torch them, you meat hook one and then drop a grenade and then just pop back. It's a really good combo to just briefly churn out some ammo and then keep flowing, because you just have to keep moving, but the sticky grenades, otherwise, I really find them to be more useful for just, like knocking the Arachnotron turret off, or the Revenant's turrets. There's just other things I would rather use. Particularly, I'd rather use the auto shotgun. So say you get up on something like the Hell Knight, and you just boom, 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 hit him with the torch, and he blows up, and then just immediately turn fodder demon, and get that back, and it's quick, and it gets rid of the stuff that puts the heat on you, so that you have a little more time to think. You have like less things coming at you. So as I said, the super shotgun, I really use it mainly for armor. It definitely can kill, but like, I was going to give you the example. Watch. That's about as fast as it goes. But this, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that there's very little comparison. Now, this thing is useful early on for lower things, imps, zombies, stuff like that. You can, between like 3 and 5 shot everything, and it'll go into stagger, and then you can get your glory kills. It's nice for softening up those things. And say you come up on a perch, and that's your next area, do some headshots and knock the Revenant cannons off. It's useful. It's a tool, though. I don't like try to light up a Cybermankius with this thing. At least, pop out the chain gun, because I don't know, it just seems like you get more bang for your buck. The micro missiles, early on, they're fun. Because you can just blow a lot of stuff up. Like, you know, if all you're fighting is an arachnotron, some zombies, and a soldier, it's fun. It really is. But not particularly functional. So going back to the chain gun, this turret, I used to think that it really had great DPS, but the more I use it, the more I find that it's not too different from this. Not enough to like really merit it. It's like circumstantial, you know. If you're real far away from like a Mancubus or a Cacra Demon or even an Arachnotron, and you just want to dump into it real quick, you don't want to knock the stuff off of it. None of that. It can be useful. It's a utilitarian type thing, and that's what I'm getting at with a couple of these weapons, is that they're not really useful to kill zombies as much as prepare them to be killed. So the pulse rifle, specifically, I just use it for shields. It does have great DPS, and I save it for last. If I'm desperate, I pull it out. I know it can kill real fast. It's great on Hell Knights as well. It also seems to be pretty good at the Spectres. I don't know about the Pinkies, but the Spectres, it will pop a Spectre on Nightmare very easily. And the mods, the Heat Wave is really good for just pushing stuff back. If it, like say you have it charged up, you're in a pinch, because like I said, I use it for the last resort. That Heat Wave, boom, it will do the job. The Microwave, on the other hand, it's almost more of a novelty. I opened it up before the Heat Wave because I didn't use the Heat Wave at all in Doom 2016, and I found that the Microwave really wasn't particularly useful at all. So more than anything, I save all that ammo for the Ballista. Now, the Ballista is good for between like 5 and 10 kills. It's very useful, and somewhere around those 5 to 10, you're going to chainsaw somebody. You can keep it going with the Ballista. It's excellent. The Precision Bolt, it is A+ #1 item. This Devastator thing, it charges up so slow. Like, it's good for opening up. But look, like, you can't even like charge it up and then walk into a room. It's just not functional. It was terrible that was the first thing I unlocked for this, because like I tried it once and I was like, oh, never mind. But if you see, like I've watched a lot of Ultra Nightmare footage. These kids, they will pop between headshotting with this for the fodder things, and then this, and they'll just snipe, boom, 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 and they do these little quick swaps, and it just seems like they're a little bit faster on the computer, but it's probably just me watching it and being so impressed. But people will pop between all these weapons and just almost like conserve ammo with each one, so they're all available for different circumstances. And so they, like a lot of them, it seems like they assign a gun to each type of enemy, and as they're like jumping around and flying and whatnot, they're swapping it out and using what is important for what. Now, that brings me to the rocket launcher. In Doom 2016, I almost exclusively used the remote detonate. At first I did the lock-on, but it just never seemed like it was fast enough. It became tedious. And then I started sending rockets down here, and I knew exactly when to hit it, and I would just hit him, you know. Looks like I just nudged him, though. Shockwave or something. But, you know, obviously at long distance is a little more tricky, but I got real good at it with the Doom 2016. But the lock-on in Doom Eternal is very, very useful. Particularly, I wouldn't use this for any smaller demons unless there's a whole cluster of them, but if there's a whole cluster of them, you just drop a grenade, pull your sticky out, and that's all you need to do. It's a waste of a rocket, because these 3-round bursts, it won't lock on from here. They murder so much. The Mancubuses like go down really quick, but particularly I use this on the Con Maker. The Con Maker, at first I was using the chain gun, and I think I was even using the turret. Just trying to put as much DPS down as possible. And I was struggling, and I found out later that everybody was using the rocket launcher when I watched a couple videos finally. And 2 bursts with a rocket launcher, and then like 1 ballista, or you can even burst again if you really want to, but I like to save the rockets, so I need to collect less ammo to replenish it so I can start over, because it's the con maker's a cycle of getting her down to flashing green, and then you meat hook up to her and blood punch her. This thing will wear her down really, really quickly, and you can in fact ignore her drones, and just keep beating on her, and harvest some ammo here and there from them via, instead of doing the headshots, just chainsaw the drone. And that way you don't get into the higher tiers of drone spawns. It seems like it controls the spawns. They don't just keep spawning on top of each other. You have to kill them all off before they'll spawn in more. Although I may be incorrect on that. That's how it seemed. Anyways, it seemed to take a little pressure off of it. But that burst, man, it really, really does the job. The BFG, it's just use it whenever you feel like it. The Unmaker, on the other hand, I think it's awesome to have it. Super cool, but in all honesty, it just does not do as good a job as the BFG. There's, you'll get more out of it if with a well-placed BFG shot. You can wipe out an entire crowd. This thing's, it's just novelty. It's kind of like a scatter shot, machine gun or something. So that's my thoughts on the different weapons and kind of how to apply them. And obviously, experiment and figure it out for yourself. And some people, they really love a mod that maybe I wasn't super into. And by all means, whatever you enjoy to do, go ahead and do that. But I appreciate you listening. Come check back with me and see if I post anything else. Otherwise, good luck.